Welcome to CEO Chairside with Dr. Grillo, where real dentists share the real stories behind the scrubs. From the operatory to ownership, from day one chaos to planning an exit on your terms. This is where dentistry meets life, leadership, and legacy. No scripts, no fluff, just unfiltered conversations that move the profession forward. Let's get into it. Hey there, and welcome back to CEO Chairside. I'm Dr. Grillo, and I'm happy to spend a little time with you today, just one-on-one, and talk about something that's really buzzing in the dental world right now. Actually, it's buzzing in the world everywhere, and that's AI. It doesn't matter where you turn, everything's about AI. And if you've been around long enough like me, you've probably seen your fair share of the next big thing in dentistry. And I had a closet full of some of those next big things that didn't always get used. Some of these things fizzle, some change everything. And AI, it's really not hype anymore. It's here and it's changing how we practice. It will continue to change how we practice. But that doesn't really mean that everything with AI slapped on it is worth your time. There's a lot of marketing ploys with AI right now. We have to be a little bit careful on several fronts. We're going to take a look at that. Really, over the next few minutes, I'm just going to break this down. What's real now? What's useful? And where do I think we're headed as owners and clinicians? And I certainly don't want to make myself out to be an expert on AI. I joined a local AI club that I go to here where I live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And it's pretty incredible to sit in the room with 20 or 30 AI folks that really are speaking a different language. When I listen to them and questions are asked, they say, well, I don't know what that's going to look like tomorrow, but here's what it looks like today. And definitely 3 months from now, this could be all completely different. So that's coming from the really smart guys. It's not that we really know exactly what's coming, but we can have an idea. We need to be up on really what is happening. So in dentistry, what really is AI in dentistry? And let's just demystify this. Artificial intelligence it's basically software that's trained to recognize patterns and make decisions. It's kind of like a super fast, highly focused team member who doesn't need to take any coffee breaks. Sounds pretty ideal in some ways, but in dentistry, that can translate to things like reading x-rays and automating some of your admin functions or improving patient communication, and now even writing your soap notes. And so it's not really replacing you, but it can be sharpening you. And I think that's an important thing, is really figuring out how to use this. So let's look at what's working right now, because yes, there is real impact that's already happening. First of all, you have diagnostics and imaging. You've probably seen some of this. Maybe you haven't used it. I had one coaching client this last year that did integrate one of these tools. So we're talking about tools like Overjet, Pearl, Dental.ai. They analyze radiographs with really a pretty insane accuracy. And so they can help identify and even quantify decay and bone loss and different margin issues. And this is ahead of what we may be able to detect with our own eyes. And so it's really like having a second opinion that's baked into your imaging software. I did see a study recently that looked at AI that was looking at CBCT scans. And what that early version of this product showed is that both the clinicians and the AI could actually identify lesions or tumors on the scans with about the same level of accuracy. But the difference was that it took the clinicians about 27 minutes and it took the AI about 17 seconds to find the same thing. So it's a pretty big issue when you think about the efficiency standards as well. And what about for patients? Well, these types of platforms really help them see what we see. And that can mean that case acceptance goes up because you're not just telling them, you're showing them. It's like our intraoral cameras, a really powerful tool. But now we can take the mystery out of x-rays and really bring an additional credibility and additional information to the patient so that they can see exactly what we're seeing. Second, AI is impacting patient communication, some of the admin functions. So it's not just for the operatory, it's for the front desk too. If you've looked at any of the AI chatbots, they're pretty incredible in terms of what they can learn about your practice and how they can communicate with people that are chatting with your practice. We're able to do some smart scheduling and review requests. Programs like Swell, Yappy, some of the newer AI native tools. There's a lot of these coming, and we want to be careful with these, in my opinion, at this point, because there are some bugs in some of these programs and they may not work exactly like you think they do. But it is kind of neat when you look at like voice AI for maybe after hours answering. These can be trained just like the chatbot, and they are very effective. I sent a demo to a couple of dentists and they shared it at their staff meetings, and everybody was just like, wow, they really can transmit a lot of valuable information to prospective patients that are calling, and even handle emergency calls as well. And then a third area is documentation and clinical notes. And so if you're spending that 45 minutes to an hour at the end of the day writing notes, this one's really for you. And there are some programs out there that they let you speak naturally, and then it writes the chart notes for you. And these are HIPAA compliant, they're organized, and they're shockingly accurate. And so you think about the hours that you can get back every week if you integrate one of these tools. That's one that I would look at pretty closely at this point in time. So where do you want to be cautious? Because not every one of these shiny AI products is worth our time. And I think a big issue is ask about HIPAA compliance. We don't think about this as closely as we should, but there's a lot of tools out there that you can't just integrate into your workflow. A chatbot that's not secure is a risk. It's not a solution, for example. You want to make sure that it's saving time, not just adding steps. If your team has to babysit the AI, then it's not really AI, it's just bad software. So you want to look for tools that really plug into your workflow, not force you to change everything and come up with an entirely new way of operating. These should be relatively simple. And if they're not, then maybe it's time to just let them evolve. So looking ahead, you just wonder what's coming next. And this is like an area where nobody has that crystal ball. It's hard to say. You read all kinds of things, the elimination of a huge segment of the workforce, including white collar workers and people taking over, AI taking over where people have always been instrumental. I just don't think that's really going to happen entirely. There's going to be a shift in the workplace, of course. But what I've got my eye on are a few things. Really, AI that looks at behavior and it is able to predict, based on behavior patterns that are recorded, which patients are most likely to cancel or to ghost appointments. And we're already getting to a point where we can do that with some of these. And then smart recall systems that recommend just the right time to follow up, again, based on patient behavior. So this idea of looking at behavior and predicting how patients are going to act can be a really powerful way of communicating with them. And then the one that I think is pretty interesting is treatment plan optimization. Nobody's going to replace the way we think and our experience, but if you can imagine AI really helping us present the right plan for the right patient at the right time, really factoring in some things that maybe we didn't see, and then putting that little extra polish on the whole treatment plan. That can save us time as well. It can help us be very efficient and can help with treatment acceptance. Really, we're moving from reaction to prediction, and that's a massive shift with AI, and I think that's going to be very beneficial for our practices. So my perspective, as I look back over the years, I came out of dental school in 1995. And if AI had been where it is when I was practicing full time, I would have jumped on it for sure. And not because it replaces any clinical skill or that clinical experience that's second to none, but it's really because it helps you focus that skill where it matters most. It's really like having a highly skilled assistant that's running in the background and handling the repeatable stuff so you can stay present with your patients. So what you might want to do is just start small, pick one simple tool, solve one problem, and that's how you build momentum. And then you get comfortable with these tools, and it can be really helpful in terms of not only becoming more efficient, but also sending a message to your patients that you're aware that the world is changing. So is AI the future of dentistry? I think honestly, it's the present and it's evolving very fast. So if you're thinking about scaling or stepping back or setting your practice up for an exit down the road, AI can play a huge role in boosting efficiency, profitability, and ultimately even the valuation of a practice. So I would stay curious and also stay skeptical, but don't ignore it. And again, be aware of the pitfalls of AI and don't see it as a way really to replace people, but to help people make better decisions, become more efficient, and to utilize their skills at the highest level. So if you found this helpful, please be sure to follow CEO Chairside. We've got more real conversations coming, everything from clinical KPIs to exit planning with dentists who are figuring it out as they go, just like you. And if you know a colleague who's overwhelmed by all this tech talk, send this episode their way. Let's just try to keep the communication lines open. And so until next time, I'm Dr. Greg Grillo. Thanks for joining me today. That's it for this episode of CEO Chairside. Real stories, real lessons, because this profession is more than a practice. It's a journey. Catch you next time.